Okay guys, today we're checking out a new development called Rosedale by Ancubic. And as usual, before we go in and check the entire development, we're going to check the surrounding location first. Right behind me is what we call the GM Klang, which is apparently a wholesale market. So as you can see, it's super massive. And today, right now, on a Saturday, there is a lot of people within the shopping mall, and the parking over here is very lacking. So this is Bandar Botanic Klang. It's a very established part of town, and obviously this is a location that is already bustling. It kind of makes sense why the developer decided to put a new development over here, just to kind of enlighten and just kind of give it a little bit of a freshness towards the entire place. As you can see, as we are speaking right now, right, even Rapid On Demand is also in service within this location. It just kind of shows you the abundance of people within this particular location itself. So I mean, the population sizing over here is already fairly large. Everybody knows Klang is actually very close to Port Klang. It's also very close to Kota Kemuning and also Teluk Panglima Garang. I always have a problem saying that name. But basically this acts as like the middle point in order for you to get to those other townships as well. The only one thing that is a little bit more concerning is that Klang has a tendency of getting a bit of flooding situation. But the amount of job opportunity within this vicinity is through the roof. I do see the reason why a developer would want to do something within this location itself. A mixed development is something that we have not seen in Bandar Botanic Klang. Okay, Chinese area always got one thing, banks. So this one is predominantly the shop lots, which is more catered towards the Malaysian Chinese segment. Not to mention, this is also right next to the Aeon Bukit Tinggi. So this is the more established part of the Bandar Botanic Klang area. You have basically all the franchise that you can think of. You want to see dentists, you want to makan Taiwanese, Japanese cuisine, paint shop, everything is all readily available for you all. Look at that. You come to Klang, you gotta eat bak kut teh, man. Beautiful, look at this. Okay, now we're at the official launch of the Rosedale, and I gotta say, there's a plentiful of people over here. Oh, everybody in Klang coming out to buy property today, is it? Let's go check it out. Now this one over here comes to about 980 plus units, and one thing very interesting is that you don't actually really find a condo like such in Klang itself. Now one thing I noticed about the entire facade design is that they went with a very bold design language. Even for the facade color itself, you can see this one has a little bit of pink element to it. And more importantly, at the bottom lot over here, you actually have about 19 shop lots and 105 business suites, making this entire thing a mixed development on its own. So the residential component right upstairs and a very beautiful facility deck. As you can see, this is the exact one in what we call like a flagship product itself. And one of the reasons why they actually decided to do it in Bandar Botanic is because this is an area that is already very established. They are basically plugging into the entire ecosystem over here. Infrastructure and everything is already very well connected and established itself. It's only 500 meters away from the provisional LRT station, which is Bandar Botanic LRT station. Once it's completed in 2027, the residents can basically walk to the LRT. But in the meantime, the Bukit Tinggi station is already up and ready. And on top of that, if you want to use the highways, there's also a very good connectivity towards the area. Now this is a part of town where it's already very established. It's also partly thanks to a bigger developer within this vicinity. So obviously this is more of like a plug-in towards the entire ecosystem, kind of really enhancing the place to a next level. Because Bandar Botanic itself is already a rather established, it's already been around for like past 1-2 decades, right? Having a new centerpiece over here just kind of enlightens the entire area. Now one thing that has already been confirmed is that there are going to be 2 anchor tenants. One of them is Hockey, which is right next to us right now. It's already open and live, and the other one that's coming in very soon as well is Jaya Grocer. This is to actually allow the entire ecosystem over here to work on its own, because with business suites, commercial shop lots downstairs, and a residential component within the compound itself, basically you don't really have to leave the place already. So I think this is a concept that's actually very often seen in the more established part of KL itself. So they're trying to bring this entire concept into Klang as well. So it's a freehold commercial development, and it only comes with 3 different layouts. Now it comes with a 550, 790 and 920 square feet. So basically 550 will be catering to your first home buyers, a little studio, right? But it's not really a studio setting because it actually comes in a room on its own. So if your friends come over also, they can actually use the living hall as a secondary bedroom. On the Type B and Type C layout, what I like is that this actually is a butterfly layout. So basically it doesn't have all this weird dead space, right? This is a design that I wish more developers actually adopt because I just like the fact that my space is being fully utilized for my rooms and my common areas lah. So the Type B and Type C layout, they are both 3 bedrooms. It's just that the quantum of the sizing is a little bit different. So one starts from 790 and the other one is going for 920 square feet lah. And now the pricing of this over here actually starts from 600 plus PSF. So for the largest layout, which is 920 square feet, it goes for around 600 plus thousand for the unit itself lah. Now of course, every single floor is going to be a little bit more pricier, so that part depends on what floor you actually pick lah. So you got 16 units on the same floor plate, which shares 4 lifts over here, which honestly speaking is actually not too bad, considering the fact that this is actually what we call a mixed development, right? And because this is only actually a 2-block tower, it's not very dense with only 900 plus units in totality lah. But for me personally, what I like most is that the mixed development concept, which means if I want to do anything within my house itself, I just need to come down, get it, and I'm pretty much done. I think that's really encapsulating the urban living concept lah. Compared to the fact that if you are living in a residential property and you need to drive to a commercial area, this one also comes with the business suites itself. So meaning to say, if you want to have your little office as well, you can just park it over there, go down to the commercial area and go back up to the residential property. How convenient. Now what is a butterfly layout? This is the best example of what it would potentially look like. So essentially it doesn't have this very weird long corridor for you to walk from one room to the other. So this one, the floor plate itself is like a full utilization of the entire square footage lah. So essentially once you come in from the main entrance itself, you don't see any sort of like this walkway to get into different units. So I think this is actually much more space efficient in that sense lah. Basically getting the best value for your money for the per square feet basis. Some people prefer this, some people prefer the one with the long corridor. I just want to give you guys a better understanding of what the butterfly layout is. Okay, so we are now at the Type C layout, and this is basically the showroom. On your right hand side as you come in from the corridor area, this is your beautiful kitchen. Got to say, it's a very spacious layout, right? And on the left hand side, this is going to be your common toilet lah, because it's going to be shared by room number 3 and room number 2. And the master bedroom is right behind you guys right now. It's a fully utilized space. It's what we call like a butterfly layout in that sense lah. Okay, so it has 37 facilities. As you can see over here, there are a ton of things to do. Basically taking everything they have already done in the past into Bandar Klang lah, I guess. Because for this developer, this is not their first development. They even have a little hall of fame over here that kind of gives you a better understanding of when they actually started their business or their developments lah. So in 2014, they actually started off with Surajaya. 2016, they actually had Cousin, okay, and then they basically have Ancubic Botanical. And this is the one that we want to really go and check out, because according to the developer, they actually want to bring this entire concept in Bangsa South or Pantai Dalam to Bandar Botanic Klang, which I think is going to be very interesting, because in Klang itself, you don't actually have this very vibrant type of concept yet. So I'm very interested to see this one over here and see if they can actually really mimic something into this part of town. You know what? Why not we go check this out in physical form? Okay, we're now at Ancubic Botanical. We have already checked out the one in Bandar Botanic Klang. In order for us to really see if this developer can deliver on their product, let's go check out one of the past developments they have did in Pantai Dalam itself. Now, because this is also a mixed development, so you can see downstairs commercial podium, which only has about like maybe 8 to 9 shops, right? They're all fully occupied, and predominantly they are your mama and convenience stores lah. So the odd thing is that you have 7-Eleven, Bila Bila Mart, KK Mart, all within the same vicinity. But the one that I want to really highlight is that they have Zeus coffee over here. It means that they know that the density over here is enough to justify having so many commercial outlets as well lah. And from the looks of it, right, and also from the looks of the amount of cars parking on the roadside, this place seems to be performing very well on both aspects of residential and also the commercial side of things lah. Now, one thing very interesting about the lobby is that it actually has water machine. So meaning to say, if your guests are coming over here, you want to meet them at the lobby itself, you can even serve them drinkable water. And because this is a commercial title development, some of the units over here has also been converted into Airbnb type of stays, right? So if you want to rent them out on different strategies or rental options, you do have the flexibility within this condo itself. But honestly speaking, even though this is a very highly investment product, you can see the entire place is still pretty well maintained despite the fact that it's already 3 years VP, right? Now, one thing I find very thoughtful by the developer is there's going to be a low floor and high floor lift. So right now you can see we have 6 lifts over here, but 3 of them actually service from level 18 to 37, and the other one actually goes for the level 2 all the way to level 17 only. So it kind of makes the waiting time much lower, and I think this is a very, very good concept that should be introduced in more condo and more developments as well. Okay, we're now at level 8, the facility floor, and the first thing you notice is that the landscaping over here is beautiful. Honestly speaking, this is one that has a lot of different flora and fauna, which personally I really like. Now, before we go to the gym room or check the other facilities, I just want to let you guys know a little bit more about the architectural design over here. If you look at it, the towers are actually kind of like having this towering effect to allow the facility floor to have more usable time. If it's less sunny and glaring into the pool or the facility area, the residents can actually enjoy using it even during like afternoon hours like 1-2 p.m. because it's not so sunny or it's not so glaring. But the smart part about it is that they still have a little bit of an air well, a little bit of void, so that natural sunlight and natural wind can still pass through the entire unit over here. Honestly speaking, I think this is a very smart concept and also a very good architectural design, allowing natural sunlight to come in but still allowing the facility floor to be still very cooling at peak hours like 2-3 p.m. ish lah. Now, one thing great about this place, because of the geolocation itself, is Pantai Dalang or Pantai Central Park. It means that you actually have a forest reserve not too far from this place, and as you can see, it's actually very windy, very beautiful. The Gasing hiking trail is just right across the street, meaning if you want to walk there, you want to go for exercise, beautiful place, and just the wind, the breeze over here is beautiful. So without further ado, let's go check out the gym room first. And you can see that it's fully equipped to the brim, and they even have those branded products that you can see called Matrix over here. So if you want to do a heavy workout, I think with the amount of equipments that you see, more than enough lah. Okay, we're just going to go up to the second floor of the facility deck, and there is a multi-purpose hall on the left-hand side. Honestly speaking, the entire deliverables over here looks to be very good. It looks to be very intact. And I think this has already been around in the market for about 2 to 3 years now. If we look at the entire facility or the deliverables of the product itself, I mean, it's in good shape probably also because the quality of the fittings that they used were also good lah. Honestly, the design language, it just gives you that very warm, a little bit like a hotel feeling, because you got this pebbles over here, gives it a bit more zen look. And I love this PVC design language, this wooden design, right? It really kind of gives you this hotel or more of like a resort style element lah. So there's a function lounge over here, and if you want to do like maybe a meeting or karaoke session, I believe it can be done because it seems like it's also fitted with all the audios as well. Now there's a slight correction, these are not the PVC type, these are the aluminium type. So probably going to last way much longer in Malaysia's weather condition, right? Because aluminium doesn't really go bad easily. And now we're heading towards the third floor of the facility area, and this is going to be the barbecue area. And guys, look at that. The outdoor barbecue area actually looks pretty decent. Sadly, we can't go out because you got to book it in advance, right? But this gives you a very holistic view of the entire facility floor. And as mentioned before, this is going to be facing towards the forest reserve over here. That also leads you to a hiking trail in Bukit Gasing. So very nicely done. Because the development over here is catered to an investment-centric development, you can see that there's also a little bit of issue in that aspect, because if it's a lot of room rentals or whatnot, then obviously car parks are not as of abundance, right? So the only solution that they have or resolve to is to park by the roadside lah, because it also shares the same access way to another rumah whip right across the street, and also a bit of a PPR housing right on the side there lah. Having the fact that this is the only commercial area within close proximity, right, everybody tends to park on the roadside and use the commercial podium over here lah. As of this moment right now, this is like the hallmark centerpiece within this Pantai Dalam area itself. But now the developer took note on this issue, and that's the reason why they incorporated parking bays for the commercial area in Rosedale. Now you can see that this area is also predominantly tenanted to expats. You can see a lot of people from mainland China. You can see a lot of people from Pakistan actually renting in this area, because it's actually not too far away from Bangsar South, which means the rental demand over here is actually pretty strong. In terms of the rental rates as well, some of the units over here goes up to 3,000 to 4,000 ringgit for the 3-bedder apartment itself lah. So if you would have bought this property earlier on in the days, right, the rental returns over here are through the roof. And now I got to say, the entire building itself, in terms of the facility and the upkeep of the place, looks to be pretty good lah. It's just that at this part over here, some of the greeneries or the landscaping is already a bit but it's not the worst lah. You know, the other side of it is looking to be pretty good as well. But more importantly to me, because whenever you use darker tone facade colors, there's a tendency of having this white spots. Over here so far seems to be pretty okay, despite the fact it's already VP 3 to 4 years ago lah. So overall maintenance, overall outlook of the property itself looks to be pretty okay. Even the kids playground over here has a bit of a design language to it, right? Honestly speaking, this one kind of resembles another development, a very high-end development that has this structural design language lah. To name it is actually the Desa Park one that we have seen so far. So this swimming pool, one thing that I've noticed is that it's actually right in the middle of all the towers A, B and C lah. So essentially, if you bought the units that are facing towards the inwards, at least you still have the water sound, the kids playing, and it's also a bit nicer and more pleasant to look at lah. So this is the drop-off lobby, and as you can see, there's LED lightings and a bit of an architectural design language over here, which is honestly pretty nice. And more importantly, as we mentioned earlier, it's also connected directly into all these convenience stores. So you want to go 7-Eleven, Bila Mart, literally just come down and you can already access them from the car park area. Making it super convenient, honestly speaking. If I were a student, if I were an expat, and I don't have a car yet, then this is like, I can walk in straight away. Let's go. So after checking out both developments, I can understand a little bit better of why they're actually trying to do in Bandar Botanic Klang. They're basically trying to replicate something that has already succeeded, they have already worked, into a new area, which is Bandar Botanic Klang lah. So this one over here, as you can see, commercial podium, they have already delivered on what they wanted to do. And they're basically replicating and enhancing further, right? Because the new one actually comes with 19 shop lots. They already have 2 anchor tenants, which is Hockey and also Jaya Grocer within the vicinity. And not to mention, that one comes with 105 business suites, which is going to make the place even more vibrant than what it is lah. As we check out the entire Bandar Botanic, it's already a very established area. So for them to actually make something very similar to have what has worked in the past, bringing it over there just makes a lot more sense. So knowing the fact that it's actually a freehold property and also 500 meters away from the train station at a price range of about 600 plus per square feet, this is actually a rather acceptable product, because they want to make this a centerpiece within Bandar Botanic Klang as a very established township itself already lah. So kind of making the place a little bit more vibrant with a new element of a mixed development, something that you see very often within the city centre, but in Klang is just a little bit of a new concept. And maybe that's the reason why when we were there during the first launching, right, there were so many people. I think that is something that's interesting to the Klang folks out there lah. And for me personally, what I like is the location itself because it's already established. So you don't really have to wait for all the infrastructure to come in. It's basically like a plug and play situation within that area. So before buying a property, it's always advisable to check the surrounding rental rates and also the average per square feet price in that vicinity. So doing a quick search online, you'll be able to tell that it's going about 600 to 700 per square feet for the adjacent development called GM Remia. And the rental rates over there goes about 3 ringgit per square feet for a fully furnished unit lah. So it just kind of gives you a gauge of what you can actually expect in terms of the returns in this area alone. Now the slightly further one, which is Gravit 8, is going for 2 ringgit 30 cents per square feet in terms of its rental units, fully furnished lah, and selling for about 520 PSF lah. Now Gravit 8 is a slightly older product, right? So maybe that's the reason why. But with every development, there's going to be some slight drawbacks because the entryway to get into Bandar Botanic Klang is going to be shared access with a lot of lorries and trucks lah, because as we all know, Klang is also where Port Klang is situated on. So traffic over there is going to be rather congested, and for the most part you'll be sharing your roads with a lot of lorries, which can be a bit scary at times lah. But if you're already working in Klang or if you're already used to the area, right, this is something of a norm to you. But for me, somebody that lives in KL city centre itself, this is something that I find a little bit on the trickier end lah. The other part about it is that Klang in essence is also a very prone to flood area to begin with. But come and think of it, if you're living in a condo, having a flood wouldn't be a bit of a concern, I would assume, assuming the sewage, the piping and the drainage are all done properly lah. Now the best part is that you can even get groceries from Jai Grocer, which is just downstairs. So I think that is not too concerning. Now for me, the things that I was very surprised to find out is that it was actually not too far away from Subang Jaya. As we were coming from Cheras all the way to Bandar Botanic Klang just now, it took us about 45 minutes plus minus, but granted it's also a Saturday at about 9 AM when we went there. And when we were heading back, it was like 15 minutes to Subang Jaya. So in terms of the convenience, in terms of the location, actually it's not too far away from the places that we are very familiar or known to, because I hardly travel to Klang from Cheras, so that was a surprising fact for me lah. Now the second part that I like about this development is the fact that it's actually built on a very established township, and it comes with a mixed development, something that you never see in that part of town yet. So because there's going to be 105 business streets within the vicinity, it's going to be a little bit easier for business owners to actually set up their entity over there, because it's a mixed development. Residential on the top, offices in the middle, and then the commercial podium. So attracting tenants into a vicinity like such is going to be much more simple in my opinion lah. So for me, I think the rental returns over there is going to be very, very high due to the fact that it's also not too far from the train station, and it's also a compound that is already fully integrated. So if you guys like content series like such, make sure to like and follow for more. Bye bye.